Okay. Por los estudiantes y los otros, es más fácil por yo para hablar en inglés, y cuando hablar en español es más despacio, entiendo más, pero hablo no es bueno. So I'm going to do this in English, but we have people who can translate aquí. So if you need something, you want to put your hand up, I can stop. Okay? Okay, to begin with, I'll tell you that I have a weird background. I have been a rancher and involved in agriculture since I was a little boy. I was a teacher in secondary school and college for about 35 years, but most of that part-time while ranching full-time. So I bring a different perspective perhaps than some people, because I'm interested in why we do some things as well as doing the thing. So I will begin by sharing with you just a little history. We have a family corporation which my wife and I own. We're the only members of the corporation, the only officers, and so on. We were incorporated in 1967. We purchased a ranch where we began ranching full-time in 1992. In 1993, we purchased some longhorn bulls to use only on first calf heifers to get low birth weight babies. We liked the heifers, the hembras that came from that cross, and we kept a bunch of them, and that was my first experience with Criollo genetics. I have today one pure longhorn cow who's 24 years old. She's had 22 calves. So the longevity of these animals is amazing to me. They would be the kind of cattle that would climb to the highest tops of the sierras. They eat the oak brush, prickly pear cactus, mesquite beans, grasses, anything and everything. They make excellent use of the terrain. We started selling meat in 1996. When I say we started selling meat, we continued to sell calves, but we wanted to diversify our operation, so we started to sell meat to individuals. Each year, our meat sales increased, our commercial sales decreased. Today, we sell about 90 to 95% of all of our production as meat. And we feel that that gives us an advantage in business because we eliminate most of the people in the middle. The only one we have not been able to eliminate is the carnicero. And so far I can do that, but just like my Spanish, it's más despacio. So we began with cattle with a herd that had been primarily Hereford, Angus, producing black baldies. We converted to using Beefmaster bulls in about 1994. In 2002, we eliminated the Beefmaster bulls and switched to bulls called balancer bulls. They were a Galvey Red Angus hybrid because the market that we were selling our calves into was saying that we had too much zebu, too much ear in the Beefmaster cross cattle. So in the same way that most ranchers in Chihuahua and Sonora sell at the border, and most of those cattle go to, depending on the year, they go to the Central Valley of California, or they may go to the Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas Panhandle. to go on grass and then to go into the feedlot. That's what we used to do. Some things changed considerably for us. In about 2002, we started to experience perennial drought. So for the probably 12 or 13 of the last 15 years, we've been in drought conditions. We felt that because of that and because of factors related to meat quality, we wanted to try Criollo bulls. And when I heard that that the Jornada was importing a group of Criollos from Chihuahua, at the time I was good friends with Ed Fredrickson, and I talked with Ed and said, when you have enough cattle that you can sell some heifers or bred cows, I'm definitely interested. So in 2009 we purchased a group of bred heifers, and sometime 2009, 2010 we purchased our first Criollo bulls. We were using some Waguli bulls as well. The Waguli bulls were because both the Wagyu and the Tule had been identified as having a gene for tenderness, and we were seeking tender meat. When we got the first group of Criollos large enough to slaughter, and we subjected them to the evaluation that included tenderness testing, we were delighted and amazed that the cattle were tender. The flavor is outstanding. So as a meat producer, these cattle have been able to deliver for us very high quality meat with a low input price. In the past, as far back as 1995, we started sending some cattle to the feedlot and finishing them out. And I'll be honest with you, I never made money on the cattle that we sent to the feedlot to finish on grain. I'm not a good farmer, I admit it. We have a little farm. I'm a terrible farmer. But as a rancher, the cattle do the work. I just move them around and make sure that they have access to good feed and good water, and we're able to make good meat that way. So, I will tell you more. At this time, we're retaining almost all of our heifers and killing only steers, Criollo. We are more than half Criollo now, and everything else, all of our calves are half, and now a few 3/4 Criollo. We will continue to phase out our Northern European origin cattle as we move to all Criollo. Okay, I won't talk about the meat so much because Sam covered that, but I will tell you that over the last 20 years, the message for cattlemen has come across loud and clear. To stay in business, to be sustainable, we have to keep our costs low and get as much return as possible for the product that we sell. So along those lines of thinking, we feed no grain. We use no hormone implants. We feed no antibiotics. We use no topical insecticides. We use no wormers. Instead, we move the cows. We select for disposition, for a calm, gentle disposition, because a calm animal is an animal that makes tender meat. So when we have animals that are poco loco, pa allá. So they don't stay. We either kill them and grind them, or we send them to the livestock auction. Okay. This will sound like a terrible thing. We do not palpate for pregnancy testing. If I wait 3 more months or 4 more months, the cow that's not bred, she starts to show that she's not bred, and she gets más gorda. And again, okay, hamburguesa, carne molida. So, no supplement. We don't supplement at all except salt. The salt that we put out has trace minerals. And everything else, if these cattle can't make it on the range that we provide, we have the wrong kind of cattle. So another big attraction for me with Criollo is they have a diverse diet selection. They select from trees, shrubs, hierbas, zacate, and in the mix, very well balanced nutrition on a year-round basis. We do the opposite of the people in the north. We move our cattle muy alta en las montañas in the winter, and down low for the summer. Okay, the spring feed that we have on our ranch es invierno, ¿cómo no? Yeah. Okay, it's mesquite beans, and they're high in protein, high in energy, very palatable, and they go from that. We get the monsoon, the lluvias in the summer, and then in the fall we gather and wean, and in the winter the bred cows go to the mountains. Okay, so advantages for me. These animals, as you've heard, they're easy on the environment. They live a long time. They never get sick. The only treatment that we've ever experienced with our Criollo cattle is for, sometimes they'll get an eye puncture from grazing in the mesquite, but no disease. They have low birth weight calves. We never have to pull a calf. They are early maturing for fertility, so they breed early. They can have a calf at 2 years of age. They have excellent feet for the piedras. It's very good feet and tight feet, so they can climb the rocks with no problem. They have an adaptable range for diet selection, gentle disposition. They finish on rangeland feed. It takes, as you heard, 30 to 34 months, but I know some photos came across that have some weights in pounds. The last couple of loads of steers that I've taken in, they're weighing between 1,100 and 1,200 pounds at slaughter. That's comparable to any English breed, and with none of the feedlot costs or supplement costs. So for me, that means money coming back to our ranch. This is a cow that has the potential to be multi-purpose. As you know, in the little pueblitos in the mountains, these cows are milked. They make good cheese. They can be used to work, to do all kinds of different things. And the nice thing about these cows, this is something when you get viejo like me, the nice thing about Criollo cows is they're all marked different. You ever go to try to remember all those damn ear tag numbers? It's horrible. But you can remember the spotted cow with one horn up and one horn down, or the solid red one with the, and it's much better. So I can remember every cow. I know her calf. I know this cow goes with this one. And you know how you have groups that go mother, daughter, granddaughter, like that? You can see the little families lining out together and going all together up the hill or up the creek. They're good kind of cattle to be familiar with. They're not just all dull, black, boring, So it's much better. Yes. Okay. In terms of the marketing, in the United States, in part because of the grading system, there is some prejudice against these cattle for sale into the conventional market. So the answer for that, as you've already heard, is breed a Criollo or breed a Angus bull or a Hereford bull to Criollo cows, and you can produce something that's acceptable. But for us, we have developed a market that is selling this meat for a very good price for us, but a fair price for the customer. And I have almost all of our business is repeat customers, satisfied customers who tell their friends, this tastes good, it's tender, and this people, we know where our food is coming from. It's not coming from some unknown industrial production system. It's coming from this ranch, raised by these people, and it's a really good thing that way. We sell 3 days a week in farmers markets to maybe 6 or 7 small tiendas, arbarotes, little tiendas de arbarotes, y restaurantes. So, and then a lot of half beef or whole beef to families. We slaughter year round, and we say the variation in flavor that comes with the year round, it's sort of like when you eat the food from the sea, you say it was the catch of the day. Okay, it's the same thinking. To me, marketing grass-fed all-natural beef is more like selling wine or fine cheeses. You know, there's a lot of variation, a lot of flavor differences, and the people that are buying this meat, they are starting to develop a sensitivity to the differences in flavor, and that is a very positive thing. And it can justify a little bit more money to pay for that. So I think that for conclusion, I would say this: for efficiency, for economy, for ecology, you need to match the livestock that you raise to the terrain, the landscape that you work in. And we're trying to take animals that evolved in Scotland and England and France and make them work in the damn desert. That's not right. These cattle came from Africa and Spain, the Canary Islands. These are desert animals, and they can prosper and thrive and make you sustainable because they have the genetics to meet that environment. The last thing I want to say, and it goes back to the steer that's with our bodegas, he's there as a guard animal. He's there because we have coyotes, we have leones, and now in the future they tell us we're going to have lobos. So we started putting steers with the sheep for protection. You already saw we have the big white dogs, but a pack of wolves could tear up a dog. These steers, they come out there and they're hooking and throwing them, and that makes a big difference. So we're picking steers that are very gentle, and we're putting them with the sheep, and very soon they get adjusted to the sheep. They move with them when we move the sheep, and I think it's going to be a good thing. So I will predict for you that ranchers in Arizona and New Mexico will be seeking out Criollo cattle in the marketplace within the next 5 years, because in my country, the reintroduction of the lobo is the law. And so we are trying to anticipate that as well.